Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is your boy Tim, back with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk once again about drinking, or actually more importantly, or more to the point, stopping drinking, quitting drinking, sobriety. That's what we're talking about. Okay, this is a topic that I've talked about in videos before. Anyone who's kind of followed this channel knows that, you know, drinking was something I struggled with many years, from like my early 20s all the way up into like, you know, my mid 30s. That's what I was about. I was about partying, drinking, having fun. But fortunately, I was blessed here in my late 30s and on to actually finally start to be able to get a handle on my drinking. And now I've been sober for, I'm not sure how long. I personally, I don't like to keep track really of the time. First time around when I was sober for a while, a year plus, I kind of did keep track of the time, but I fell off the wagon, got back on. And this time I just vowed that I don't ever want to drink again. So the time really doesn't matter. You know, how long I've been sober really doesn't matter. The sobriety is what matters. So, but it's been a while, and I'm happy for that. And a couple viewers sent me, you know, some comments about on some of the videos I did previously about drinking, and I was like, you know what, I really haven't touched on that topic a lot, and it is one of the most important things that's ever happened to me in my life. Not to mention, it affects so many other people out there. And even though I feel like I'm in no way any type of like sobriety expert or drinking counselor or anything like that, I do like to share my story if it can help someone else. And that's what it's all about, helping other people. I know there are people like me who are in the same situation when it comes to drinking as I was in. And if I can kind of show them a light at the end of the tunnel, I'm all about it, okay? So one of the comments I got recently was a viewer saying that he has, you know, struggled with drinking. Real quick, I never like to use the term alcoholism or alcoholic. I feel like there's too much bad energy around those terms. Things like once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. I feel like that is more detrimental to people. That phrase is more detrimental to people quitting drinking than anything else. So I just say people struggle with drinking, have a drinking problem. Moving on. So a viewer said, had a drinking problem. Couple different times, tried to quit, you know, fell off the wagon, things like that. But one of the big things, one of his big issues, and I know the same is true for me and a lot of people out there, was just that the boredom that seems to come with not drinking. Okay, I know for me personally, I had been drinking so long, right? Like I had spent so many years drinking that before I, you know, started on this path to sobriety, one of the major things that kept me from going sober was the fact that I could not think, you know, I couldn't bear the thought of doing any of the activities that I normally did to have fun, or even to just like chillax, you know. I couldn't bear to think of doing any of those activities sober. I could not bear to think of doing any of the normal stuff I did in my life, except like work. Work, always sober, never drank at work. But after that, we was drinking all night, you know? Like I couldn't bear to, you know, this thought, I remember this thought popped in my head. I said, I can't even sit down and watch a Netflix movie, you know, without drinking. You know, like everything I did to have fun, you know, watching TV, hanging out with my friends, you know, sex, like, you know, everything, just like I said, a movie, anything, relax, like everything. All the fun stuff in my life was tied in with drinking. Like I drank to, you know, enjoy those moments more. I really could not bear the thought of doing all those things sober. I couldn't. I'm telling y'all, I'm being honest with y'all. Like that was one of the things that held me back the longest. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Just like sit here sober and like in the evening, you know, I get off work, I get home like 5 o'clock, from 5 to like 11 when I go to bed. I'm just gonna sit here sober? Like I was like, this is craziness. But what happened for me is that one of the big things I realized that there are a lot of people out there who can drink, no issues. I'm one of the people that when I drink, bad things happen. When I drink, that bad just comes out of me and towards me. And I realized, I was like, Tim, you're either gonna have to embrace the bad and just be like, this is me, this is my life, or you're gonna have to quit. And for a while, I was like, I'll embrace it, whatever. I have an uncle, sadly, for all intents and purposes, he drank himself to death. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna be just like my uncle. You know, it's a family tradition. I literally said this. You know, I was like, this is what I do. I'm a drinker. But, you know, the time came when I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I was like, I can't say this is my life. You know, I got too much other good stuff going on. I can't accept this. I can't accept the bad. I'm gonna have to quit. And I realized that there was a time in my life when I didn't drink. And this is what helped me with the whole boredom thing. Like, if I'm not drinking, I'm gonna be bored. I realized there was a time in my life when I didn't have to drink, okay? There was a time in my life when I could, like as a child, I had lots of fun. I went outside, I played with my friends, I played with my Legos. You know, I came in, I watched TV. My dad was a computer programmer, so I had a computer of my own way before most people. So I'd come in, I'd play my little very, very basic DOS computer games. You know, I had fun. There was no thought of alcohol or anything like that, okay? Later in life, though, the alcohol came in. So I was thinking, I was like, what would it take for me to get back to childlike Tim? What would it take for me to get back to the Tim who had fun before drinking? Because obviously that's possible. It'd be different if we were born like drunks and had never like seen life sober. But we all have. You know, sadly, some people start drinking very young, you know, and they haven't seen as much life sober. But for most of us, it was our late teens, 20s. So we had couple decades for a lot of us where we didn't drink, and we can remember what it was like. And so I was like, I just need to get back to that. What do I have to do? And so I went with the sobriety. I stopped drinking. There were some hiccups there in the beginning, you know, but I just stopped, and I was right. It was very boring in the beginning. It was very boring. It was one of those things I just had to sit there and make myself do it. I was like, this is the most boring thing I have ever done. I'm bored, I'm aggravated, I just want to drink, but I couldn't. I just could not let myself do it. I couldn't go back to that bad stuff. I'd messed up too many friendships, relationships, cars, yeah, just so many things. And so I was like, I just got to do it. And what I found was that it just took time. Okay, drinking is always something I can't do. You know, I'll just never be able to drink like some people. So it's better for me to just not drink. But I found that with time, the boredom kind of lessens. See, what happens is you program your brain. When you drink, you program your brain. Oh, when we do this, this substance comes in our body. Woohoo! You know, that's why we like drinking. The highs get higher. Okay, the highs get higher when you're drinking, you got a little buzz, or you're drunk. So, you know, if you like doing something, if you do it while drinking, it's already here, then it gets way up here. So you program your brain to expect here. What you have to do is just reprogram your brain to expect here again. So the stuff is still fun to you. All the activities that you like to do are still fun to you. You're just used to doing them at a higher level. And it just takes time to bring your brain back down, to reprogram your brain to think, oh, when we do this, it's at this level, not this level. You know, it's time. And the longer you've been drinking, the more you've been drinking, the longer it takes. But I found for me, it did not take as long as I thought it would. Like, I thought it would take like months, and it really didn't. I mean, I feel like after like a month or so, I just kind of, you know, got used to it. I got a routine. I was used to it. I was like, oh, this is what we do. You know, there are still times here and there that I really was like, man, I would love a drink right now. Okay. But it just, for the most part, after, it might've been a month, maybe a couple months, I'm not sure exactly, but in a very quick period of time, my brain had got reprogrammed, and it was like, oh, we can do this stuff normal now. I found myself enjoying movies sober. I found myself, I could go out, you know. I think around the time I first started quitting, I was still living close to a really good friend of mine, and he used to like to go out to eat for lunch, things like that. He would drink. You know, I'd sit right there next to him, wouldn't drink. It wasn't a problem. Like, I just, over time, my brain got reprogrammed, and it realized, okay, we're back to this again. We're not up here anymore, we're here. And the thing is, the higher the highs, the lower the lows. That was another thing I focused on. I may not be having as much fun as I used to. It may not be like woohoo. It might just be like woo. But guess what? The uhs aren't as bad. You know, a lot of the lows, a lot of the bad things that come along with drinking go away. So while in the beginning it may not seem like your life is as fun as it used to be, it's also not as bad. And that's kind of the compromise that worked for me. I was like, you know what? Yeah, we might not be out doing that wild, crazy stuff and being at the bar and, you know, having all this fun, but we don't have to deal with the morning after and the, you know, the hangovers, and we don't have to deal with, you know, the crazy stuff we did. You know, we don't have to deal with the blackouts. That was a big one. When you wake up in the morning and don't remember like the last 3 hours of your night, and that happens consistently, that's a low. that is a low. When your friends have to call and tell you the crazy stuff you did because you don't remember, that's a low. So I was like, hey, the highs aren't as high, but the lows aren't as low. My life's pretty normal now. You know, it's pretty, you know, straight across the board now instead of all this here. And I grew to like that. And I grew to accept that as my new normal, you know? So my message to anyone who might be, you know, struggling with drinking and just so afraid that their life is going to be so boring, it will be for a while. Yeah, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It will be for a while, okay? But probably not as long as you're thinking. And the day will come when you reprogram your brain and you're used to living what now would seem like a boring existence. You'll get used to sobriety. You'll get used to being sober. You'll get used to not having like the alcohol in your system. But it takes a while for like all of it to leave your system, your body to go through withdrawals. This is worse for some people than others. Fortunately, like for me, it was always weird. Even though I drank every day, drink a lot, like I never really had a lot of the physical withdrawal symptoms. If I ever really felt myself when I was drinking, getting jittery around 5 when I hadn't had a drink, I would take like a week off. Always been that way for years. So for me, the physical symptoms weren't as bad. It was all mental. I know some people, they do have, you know, the physical they have to deal with, which is sad, but you got to do it. But the mental, if you just, you know, make the determination, I'm going to stop, you know, so what if my life sucks for like 6 weeks? So what? That's the price I have to pay for programming my brain to always want to drink, and the price you have to pay to get back to a normal life that doesn't involve all the craziness that drinking has brought into it, which is the reason why you want to quit anyway. So that's just my little take on that. I'll be trying to do some more videos about drinking and stopping drinking and being sober in future. But like I always say in these videos, you are going to quit. You know, if you're watching videos like this, obviously you're on the path to quitting. Sometimes it takes some stops, some starts, some stops, some starts, some fails. You know, as long as you just keep going, you are going to quit. You are in control. It's your life. No one can make you. No one can make you pick up a beer and drink it. No one can make you take that shot. You know what I'm saying? No one can make you drink except you. So when you decide you don't want to do it anymore and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get that monkey off your back, you're going to do it. It's just a matter of time. You're going to be sober. Talk to you later.